Hey, what's up, guys? So we have one of our amazing guests here today. We have the one and the only Nguyen, the What's a Mortgage, the guy right here in the flesh. Hey.
Love it. So excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Thanks, brother.
definitely.
Thanks for being accommodating. I know. Sometimes I don't want to come off like a diva, like, oh, only here, but it's my driving skills that limit me.
Oh my God, I love it. Same for me.
I won't ask why, but I'm going to say you're a great driver anyway.
Oh my God. No, for me too, honestly, like I always make Eli drive because I'm not the best driver. Or sometimes I take Uber like all the way to LA. So
I Uber here just to make sure.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to drive. I feel like I am in control and I can drive everywhere, but yeah, that's just me.
Actually on that subject, sometimes having a driver, having an Uber take you somewhere, you could actually like really make so much out of that time that you're in the car where you would be driving. So I actually took an Uber to LA the other day. Maybe it was like $95, right, plus tip. But like on the way there, I opened up an escrow for like, and in the end, the commission's gonna be around $13,000 to $15,000.
Yeah.
Now, if I didn't like do that right at that moment, I could have missed out on that deal, and then I wouldn't have made that money because I was driving. So sometimes, being in an Uber could be very beneficial.
Well worth it,
you know what I mean? Well worth it.
And it makes sense too, because most of the time, because I'm in the lending side, you deal with the same thing. You're driving, and you get all these messages, these phone calls. I need a LE, I need a CD. What's the update? What's going on with the file? Who's your team member? Who would I reach? And I'm like, okay, drive, but I'm, even though we have a Tesla, it's still difficult because you honestly can't really like look at it from the car.
Yeah,
even though I try to use that feature as best as I can, I think my grade on my Tesla is really low right now because the newer Teslas now have a feature where they credit grade you. So if you even hit a bump or you do something, it literally will remove the ability to do
auto drive.
So now I lost it, so I now have to drive.
Yeah, exactly.
But it works. But I appreciate you being here. I think one of the biggest things is a lot of people in our circle, we are real estate and mortgage. Mortgage guys, Ambiance Realty, and obviously we're Eli and Mike.
Yes.
So we have a lot of people in our circle that say, hey, I get a lot of my information from What's a Mortgage. I know who he is. How do you know him? What is he all about? So I'm like, you know what? We really should have him on the podcast because you are, and maybe you don't know this because you seem very, very humble.
Yes.
But people talk about you.
Right.
And they say, hey, well, that's amazing. What is he all about? And then when we told everybody about the podcast, they're like, oh my God.
Like perfect name what? Because everybody's like, what is he all about? What's a mortgage? And we love that you have, that slogan, What's a Mortgage? Again, for us, it's the mortgage guys. So it really represents what you're out there, educating people on. And maybe you could tell us a little bit of where you found this name. What made you say, you know what, I'm going to go on What's a Mortgage? That's going to be me.
Well, I started doing social in 2017. So in the middle of 2017, I was trying to come up with a name. And I was asking people, I want to do this channel about mortgages. The first question people ask, like, what is a mortgage? What type of mortgage? So when I kept on hearing the word what's a mortgage, like, oh, why not call it What's a Mortgage?
Right, yeah.
So I think a lot of our audience is primary resident homeowners, or they're buying their second home. They're not real estate gurus, they're not investors. So most people who are buying their home for the first time, they don't understand what's a mortgage. So that's how we came with the name. So our audience is geared towards more that first-time home buyer or that primary resident home buyer.
I love that. And that makes a lot of sense because no matter what industry you're in or anything, especially brand new people that have never been in the real estate field, buyers, consumers, they really don't know what a mortgage is. And you're absolutely right because they're like, what is a mortgage? Actually, you as a realtor, he runs into a lot of problems. Like, oh, have you called my client? Or my client doesn't even know what his payment is. Or doesn't even know what the mortgage means. And that explains a lot like that. It's actually such a very key name because, the mortgage guys, it obviously makes sense that it's a mortgage thing, but I think it's super cool.
But people need to know what a mortgage is, like you said, And again, going back to being a realtor, I know that most people don't even know what closing costs are. When I say that word to them, they're like, what is that? In our world, we're used to it, but so many people are not. So, we see you going live on your social media and, 200 plus viewers, and this is something where you go on nightly or daily and so many people are just feeding into you and all your education. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
And how long have you been doing loans, mortgage?
So I've been in the mortgage industry since 2003. Okay. So it's been a while. And then of course, when the crash happened, I don't know about everybody else, but for myself, I put my tail between my legs and I went back to my parents' house. Oh, I see. So living at home at a ethnic family's home teaches you a lot. When I moved back home, I had started eating the Vietnamese food that did not smell good. So the more I ate the food, like, I gotta get my ish together and get back out of it. I love the food, but the smell wasn't amazing. I remember being back at home in 2008 and going to work, and because I didn't want to spend money, my mom would pack my lunch. She had this caramelized pork an egg fermented thing I had to eat, and my people at work like, dude, we'll buy you lunch for a while, you know. And after a while, like it can smell on my clothes. Like, dude, as soon as I start closing business again, I'm moving back out. So it was it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Yeah, definitely.
so cool.
That's so great. I know you like went through the whole crash as well, right?
I did. So I started mortgage in 2005. So a couple years after you, I'm 44. How old are you?
42.
42. Okay. Hey, so the 40.
Yeah, that's right.
You'll be there soon. You'll be there soon. He's
God
still-
bless,
He's in
God
his
bless.
30s. So.
Oh my God.
But that's why we have the wisdom. So I've
Yes.
done mortgages for 20 years. You've done it for over 20, 23, 24.
This will be 20 years. So June,
my
so July
gosh.
3rd will be 20 years.
Wow, yeah.
Powerful.
That's a celebration.
So that tells your
Love it.
loyalty and that creates your wisdom. That's why you have so
Right.
much information to feed. Where do you, for a lot of viewers, where do you get your data from? Is it something like Mortgage News Daily? Is it something you go online on maybe fannieme.gov or something like that?
So in the beginning, I did it straight up. I started cheating after a while. Okay. So in the beginning, when you go on Housing Wire, they'll tell you where all the articles came from because because a lot of the journalists are using other people's articles. So then you start tracking the articles. So I have every morning I log in, I start pulling the articles right away. So there's the real deal, and then I pull out Housing Wire, then I pull out NAR. Mortgage Bankers Associate. Then for me, because I hunt trolls all day, so I look for data companies. So I look for Black Knight, Adam Data, Core Logic. So I'm looking for foreclosure data. Of course, the Realty Track, because a lot of my clients too, that if they want to flip or they're buying investment property, so we start buying data. So when I talk to people about, oh, is the market crashing? I have confidence knowing that's not crashing, because if they are, I know I bought the data. Also, sometimes we do buy mortgage lates. They're not popping up, so we start buying mortgage lates. You look at all this data, so you have confidence if the market's going to crash or not.
I like that. So you have all the tools and resources. So you guys as viewers that are watching this podcast and on live, he has all the information. So you guys should be taking notes on this because obviously you're a successful mortgage guy. Mortgage lender. Sorry, we're going to confuse you.
Yeah.
But in essence, and he has all the data. So that's
Yes.
so super important because a lot of people don't know where to look. There's a lot of bad mentors. There's a lot of bad real estate offices, bad mortgage companies. I mean, have you been with, what's your lenders?
So we're called the WHAM Lending. So we're a mortgage brokerage now. So I went from being with a small direct lender, and that's how I got out of my hump because I was in some debt because my mortgage company that I bought shut down. And then after that, we went to US Bank, Loan Depot. Loan Depot went public. After that, we went to selling leads for a while. And then, the market's kind of tapering off where not a lot of people want to buy leads. And when they did, they overcharged our borrowers. So we went from there to becoming a brokerage finally.
That makes a lot of sense. In the lending field, it's the same thing. All that overhead they put into the
Oh yeah, you got the nationwide manager they got to pay. Oh, yeah. You got the district nationwide, West Coast, East Coast manager, regional manager, branch manager. By the time your consumer makes a payment, they're paying everyone's bills.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's some of the biggest reasons why I moved to this to Mortgage Guys as a broker, because working for the direct lender, we were limited to how much income we would make, not to mention offering clients these higher interest rates.
Oh, yeah.
Which obviously, that's kind of your image, right? Like, oh, that guy just gives high interest rates, which is very difficult to sell on, especially in today's market.
Actually, and one thing I want to really touch on is it's so amazing that you do this every morning, that you truly go, I want to go back to that subject really quick, because there are so many lenders out there, loan originators, that they just don't even do what you do in the morning, just go and check what's going on in the market, have the actual results, you know what I mean? Because I know you said a lot of people, they may not know where to find it, but the thing is there are a lot of lenders who do know where to find it, but they just don't go out there and educate themselves. And then that's just a disservice to their clients, which is so unfortunate. So that's why we personally watch you, because we know you are credible. And everybody in the office, we're always talking about you. What is What's Mortgage saying? So, because we know you're credible.
What's Mortgage first? Did he say it's okay? Like, people say that, like, what do you mean?
Say that one more time?
Oh, no, they'll be like, oh, did What's Mortgage say it was okay to buy right now? I'm like, what are you talking about? I said it's okay to buy. definitely. But it's really cool to see that you're feeding the people that information. I want to get into a little bit of your background, just because I'm really curious about something. I come from a very warm house. You brought up the fact of Vietnamese. You're Vietnamese,
Correct,
right? So we're Hispanic. We grew up with like the tamales and the pozoles and all those kind of foods too. And actually, they smell good.
Yeah.
It's a little different.
Oh yeah, no, my wife's from Chihuahua. Trust me, when we go to her mom's or her sister, like that smells good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're on the same
Okay, but still, like Mexican food, you will walk out smelling like corn tortillas. So just saying, like, you know what I mean? We're just so used to it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So trust me, I get it.
For
Like,
sure. So back to what I was saying about, your purpose, right? So what's a mortgage? We already know why you did it and all that, but what's your purpose as to giving educational information, right? So you went through the slump, you learned from it. I went through it too as well in
Yeah.
2006. We didn't lose our property. Luckily, we were able to salvage it through a
Congratulations.
modification.
Yeah, that's a hard.
Thank you. It was very tough. So we luckily, and then we just sold it, 3 years ago? And we were able to make a profit off of it because obviously we bought it when it was super high.
Yeah.
But what's your why? Why do you like giving information? Because not necessarily you're not going on there and saying, give me your loan.
Yeah.
You're not going on there, I will do better than anybody else. You're not being greedy because obviously we all know there's enough business for everybody.
Oh, correct.
Otherwise, why would you be here sitting with the mortgage guys when you do mortgages? What is your why? Why do you like to give information to people?
I like to give information is because I think it's the easiest point of entry for someone to trust you. If you just provide information without expecting anything back in return, just like, of course, people say Gary Vee, jab, 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 right hook. So we really believe is if you give out enough information to the masses for a long period of time, even the small portion of business you're going to get is more than enough.
I love that. See, so that's huge because there's a concept we have. It's that you get what you give.
Yeah.
And it's always that because a lot of people want to like give me. I want everything. I want my money. I want all the deals. And it creates that greed aspect, and then people can smell it. We were talking about this on training on Monday, saying you don't want us to have commission breath.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I can
Right.
tell you just
I know.
I'm gonna use that one for
Use it,
Oh,
use
you got
it.
commission, bro. You got it.
we
bro.
laugh like
I can
every time. We're
smell
like,
you
oh
over the
my
phone.
God, it's ridiculous.
But,
Yeah,
but you
definitely,
can,
definitely.
I mean, we can tell. I hear some of my salespeople doing it too. I'm like, dude, you sound like you're selling the something that, and they're not going to buy from you.
Yeah.
Like, you sound like you want your money.
Yeah.
And that's the whole purpose that we educate people on. And you do the same thing. You don't tell them I want your money. You're like, hey, let me give you guys information, and hey, follow me. And if I'm interesting to you, then maybe I'll get a deal out of it. But you don't even say it.
Yeah.
It just happens. And a lot of us, what we do is we do lifestyle, but we do educate. Not as much as you do. You actually have a really good control on that, and I love how you do that. Maybe one day we'll get into that. But I feel like that's a necessity. A lot of, Mike said there's a lot of people that do know it, but they're not executing on it.
Right.
They're not giving information to people because they are greedy. They're having this difficulty of letting go this information because they're worried about, oh, but somebody else might get my deal.
Yeah.
When the reality is there's millions and millions and millions of people in this freaking state that...
Yeah, I think it's hard though, like for those people, I think it's hard for them in the beginning because every deal does matter. But now I think, so in the beginning when you do it, well for myself, I sacrifice. So right now, like let's say on a deal, I make less than 0.5%, but I do it on the volume. But because I have loan officers that work for me and work with me, and because I have to make content for the masses, I don't have time to do it. Because if I did do the loans, then I couldn't do the content, but then you have to pick and choose what you want, right? So I'd rather make less upfront for a good season before I get more, and that's how I have time to do content. But if I had to work on loans too, then there's no way.
Exactly, and that was going to be one of my questions. How are you balancing both? But delegation is key.
Correct.
And that's what's making you keep going because the media aspect of everything is so important. You know what I mean? That's what's truly driving us, and we're the ones being shown, and we're educating people, and we're not just asking for business. We're literally just educating.
Yeah.
And then it's like, hey, if you like what we know and our knowledge, then we're here to serve you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we do the same, and that's why we have been pushing our social media as much as we can. But again, when we're doing our social media, we're really trying to educate as well. You know what I mean? And we're doing our best to do that. Obviously, social media has been around for some time, but it's still pretty new to the business world in regards to pushing like loans and real estate and working with investors and stuff. Now they're all starting to realize, hey, this is a place where you can gather great information from the right people, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think social media is people are becoming more open-minded to do a loan or get a real estate transaction through someone through the internet, especially on TikTok. I feel like Facebook, if they'll love you, they'll loyalty, they'll watch you forever, but to get them to reach through, a little bit harder. Instagram, a little bit easier. They'll probably want to talk to you for a little bit. TikTok, they'll throw their social in the DMs. Like the TikTok just like, I think the newer generation, they understand like, if there's any fraud, I can just call and get it reported, changed, and fixed. They have that trust. Older people, no, I don't want to do that.
You're right. That's so true. And we've been working on our TikTok as well, and there's a lot of feedback, and now the comments are starting to come in. And It's great because we're just trying to educate once again. We have a couple of fun videos where we're talking about Eli's pink hair and whatnot, but you know
we
what
talk
I mean?
about marketing. I mean, we're all about the marketing thing.
Yeah.
That's part of the Hollywood vibe that we bring. But
yeah, and then another question we have for you. So have you always been in? Were you born here?
I was born in Vietnam for like about, I think, a month or two, and then we came here on a boat to the United States. So.
Oh my God, no kidding!
Yeah.
Wow.
Straight up the story of Moses, man.
That is intense.
The ship sank. It was a little fisherman's sardine boat, and then a U.S. naval ship picked us up, and then that's how we got to America.
No way.
Okay, wow, that's amazing. That's definitely a story for sure.
Yeah, it's a story. Do you use that? I know you don't remember it, but knowing that you literally went through that, do you ever put that in your mind and say, you know what, I'm gonna push harder?
So I remember those stories to make me love my mom more, because sometimes our parents, man, especially if they're not Americanized, it's hard. And that story reminds me to love my mom and have patience for my mom. Because sometimes I just want to spin kick my mom in the face sometimes, sometimes, to be honest, but that's what, No. So, but I think the story I remember the most is 1990 when my dad went from renting to owning, and that's the story I share the most because our rent was $500 a month, but he went and got a mortgage for $1,500 a month. So that's 3 times the amount. You see people now, they're talking about how they don't want to spend more, but if he never did that, we wouldn't be in the position we're in. And my dad now, they don't have a mortgage. They're not even paying property taxes because they have a LISA going on their house, a reverse life expectancy set aside. So they don't got to deal with inflation because they can use the Social Security money. So that's my bread and butter story. Wow. That drives me and helps me drive other people. If you understand how home ownership can preserve, not just give you a place to live in, but preserve your life. Yeah. That's my passion behind it.
That's so huge because that's so important. People don't know that, and you even sharing that, people now can realize, wow, if I buy a property, now I have something that can protect me for my future, create a legacy, as well as to leave it for your kids. Because that's one thing. We have 2 kids ourselves, so we have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old son, and we want to leave something for them. We own some real estate, but obviously there's a process, right? We have to go through the mortgage, the real estate, and understand the rates in the market. But we want to leave something. So knowing your background, I went through these little scrutinous things to realize that, all right, I was given this opportunity to be here and do everything we can. Yeah. We were born in America, but we're still a minority. Yeah. I don't know if you feel that way, but we're still a minority. So we have to do everything we can to push a little bit harder because we weren't so lucky to just wake up in the $1 million in our bank. 100%.
And you think about your kids. Without you guys, your kids will never own a home in California. Yeah. Inflation, appreciation, the stress about think about your stress your parents had to provide for you, the stress we have to provide for our kids. Right. If we didn't have homes for them, there's no way. They're going to have to move farther away. Exactly. And of course, as you get older and retire, you want all your kids to be around you. But how can they unless you do something for them now? Exactly. And that's a big sacrifice that people don't think about.
Yes, and they get to see the process of us going through what we have to go through when it comes to signing loan docs and all that stuff. It takes time, 45 days sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. But in reality, they get to see all that. They get to see what we're going through and what you have to do. We're sharing the numbers because we're in the process of buying properties ourselves, right. To show them, hey, it's not just one property, you have to keep going. That way you could have a return on investment in the future. So they get to see all this. They see us going, working hard every day, waking up at 4 a.m., going to bed at, 10 p.m. And, when we go to the banks and, so, with these checks, we're telling them how much it is. And, their eyes pop out a little because the numbers that you have to, to purchase a home in their eyes as children, right? But again, they get to see all this, they're learning, and that way in the future, they have the knowledge to, hey, I need to do this too to be able to get ahead. And it's not that easy, you know what I mean? You have to work hard. You have to work hard to have be able to pay for a mortgage, you know?
Absolutely.
Question I have for you guys, since you guys do have kids, is it hard to find a balance being parents and being in the business? I feel like that's where I've taken steps back because, the season you grind, but there's some people, they want to grind, they want to keep it going. Is it hard to find that balance to did I give my kid enough, or was I so busy making money that this is the result of how my kid is going to be because I wasn't there, or wasn't there enough? Is that a hard balance for you guys, or are you guys pretty good at balancing that out?
To be really honest, I think that's a really good question. So we had originally had a challenge with it because I'm the original father. I was married before with my ex-wife for about 10 years, something around there. And in between there, obviously they went through their little challenges and there was a problem in separation, but we have 100% custody of them. So they are with us as parents. And one of the biggest challenges is because he's in real estate and I'm in mortgage, we're always working together. In some aspect, we're either doing something. So we're out in the field all the time. So the issue we have is, yes, there are times that we cannot spend time with our kids because, as you know, real estate agents work weekends.
Yeah.
Mortgage lenders work weekdays or
Yeah.
weekends as well. And then before you know, you don't have time. We are the ones that end up leaving very late from the office. So we go home like around 8 or 9
Wow.
and we barely see them. And then we wake up early. We wake up. We have this routine. We wake up at 4 a.m. and do all that. But the hardest challenge is definitely spending time with them. So we recently did, and this helped us out a lot, is we hired a personal assistant. And our personal assistant calendars every single crucial moment of what's important in our life, from meeting with you, from doing podcasts, from meeting with celebrities, from making sure even our kids are in there. Right, from this time, nothing changes from spending time with your kids. So it's something that it's immovable, and it's been helping us out a lot. We calendar everything to the T, because before we're like, oh yeah, let's just make sure we hang out with our kids tonight. And then that extra call comes in, or that application, or the LO walks in. I have a question for you, and it turns into another hour question.
You get the look from them. Like my son gives me a look like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And like, oh my gosh, like it's especially especially if you get an email. It's it's an updated condition list. I'm like, why, we're not clear to docs? And I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. I'm like, oh my god. Okay, do I flinch and open it or like?
Exactly.
You know, yeah. So I get it. Well, I'm gonna look into that because I think you guys just taught me something because I'm cheap. Okay, I lost a lot of my money in 2017. I had to get it all back. So to hire, like my wife said the same thing. Get an assistant. You're not getting an assistant because you're bougie. You're not getting an assistant because you're better than anyone else. You're getting an assistant so that you have a better quality of life with your kid. And dude, you guys just like hit it right on the head.
And you know what though? We've fallen a lot of times. You know, we fell because he's really good at catching problems. Like, there's going to be an issue here. I'm really good at, I just want to go forward. And that's the concept we have. This is what makes us the yin and yang here. But I'm the forward guy. You're probably the forward guy. Let's go. Maybe your wife is more like, hey, you're missing something, right?
Yeah.
So that's him. So he's like, dude, hire an assistant. And it took me a while too. I was very like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I need that.
Are they up in my business?
Yeah.
Shit, I want them to know.
Should they go on my bank account? I mean, it's all. It becomes very stressful, especially for people like. I don't know if you're. I don't necessarily have an ego, but I feel like I just want more control. I don't know, because I just know so much information, but I feel like nobody does it better than me. And that's sometimes my problem.
But you said I know you don't have an ego, but is it hard like with the people you mentor and like the offices that you run, like, oh, this guy's too good for me as an assistant, and now I'm not approachable, and because I lose sight of things, like, so not like the ego part, but did you ever feel like if I do this, now I feel like I'm putting myself above everyone else, and like, am I still going to be there relatable?
That's a very good question, and actually,
I would say like it never put us in that mindset because it literally helped us to be able to help more people. So in our mindset, we're like, okay, like if we get this personal partner, then we're going to be able to go help more people. And we're even directing our people to, hey, go to our personal partner and let her know, hey, set up an appointment today at 12. When before it was like, hey, like, can we meet? It's verbal. Can we meet at 12? We're like, yeah, let's do it. We're here in the office. Now we're here in the office. It's verbal, but also our personal partner's right there. So involved with everything that our business is going better. Again, our family life is going better, you know, even to where.
And it helps your relationship too. It's not just that. I mean, your wife will be very happy with that. Like, wow, like you actually have time for us. Like you actually even put her in the Abby on the thing, babe. Like, you're in there.
Sometimes he forgets that, you know, we have a personal partner because, you know, again, relationship-wise, we have a relationship dinner at least once a month. And, you know, sometimes even just calling that restaurant, if you're going in LA, it takes 20 minutes to get them to answer. And having that personal partner, you know, she's calling for her, she's setting the appointment, she's reminding us. You know, on the Monday before that Friday, she's like, hey, don't forget about your dinner this week. It's Friday. And just reminding us, it helps the relationship because we're like, okay, we remember. And so it can be a very beneficial thing. And honestly, to be honest, we were kind of a little hesitant at first. Too,
that's where I'm at right now. That's why I'm asking. So you guys are giving me a good piece of information. I'm sure your audience too, that I'm sure a lot of your audience is at a place where like, when is the right time to get an assistant, and how is it gonna? Everyone's probably thinking, if I get one, how much do I need to make more, or how much is it gonna change my business? And you helped answer that question. So I like the fact that you said that. Hey, it allows us to help more people, and I didn't think about it that way. In my mind, I'm thinking, dude.
Yeah. And again, I don't know what the word is, but we didn't want to spend the money extra per month either.
Yeah.
And we were like, do we really have to do this? You know what I mean? But again, it just.
And it really isn't to
helped
flaunt,
us
like
so
you said.
much.
Like, you know how you said the fact that, people are going to think you're too good for them. The fact is you perform better. You're able to do much more. Like, you know how you said the fact that, if I get a pre-approval, I kind of want to look at it. If I get an updated, I'm going to CTC. But, and that happened to me yesterday, trust me. I got 2 CTCs, and the underwriter kept asking for more questions. I'm like, dude, where's CTC? Oh, we made a mistake. I'm like, and this is UWM, just so you know. So these big guys still keep making mistakes. But everything's on calendar, so I'm like, all right, I got to make sure this is done. But let's bring in my assistant to take care of this issue. But it depends too, because we have LOAs, which obviously are the loan officer assistants that actually do the loans, and we have our personal assistant that is more personalized.
Okay.
That's her running our calendar, and people really do respect it because we're not, as much as you see us dressed and we have this Ferrari and we have this Tesla, and it's not who we are. It's the way we market that brings attention, which is a huge thing. And even Gary Vee brings it up. Everybody that are huge $1 million go-getters, like Paris Hilton's one of our friends, everything's about marketing and branding. And the more we market, the more we brand. You do a great job in branding the What's a Mortgage. That's the empire we're creating, and it isn't because we want to be better than everybody, but that's what we're good at, and we show it in a certain way. Pink hair and everything, like that's just who we are. But it works magic, and I think that is really the true core as to how it's helped us with personal assistant, because now we just text her, hey, can you handle this? Can you coordinate this? Can you do that? Because then what if you came up to me and asked me, hey, can I see you at 12 o'clock? And I'm like, it's 12 o'clock and 3 other people all of a sudden came in front of me and they're bringing up issues. And you're like, well, it's 12 and I gotta leave at 1. And now you feel diminished by the importance of you versus you're on calendar.
Yes.
Like you are important enough to be on a calendar. Like it's weird, right?
Yeah, definitely. Dude, I'm actually learning a lot from you guys right now. You know, I know I came here for you guys to ask me questions, so I'm learning like about the assistant, but the way you guys market really defines you, because you said like the Ferraris, the Teslas, like it's not because you're above everybody else, it's because it's the brand and market you want. Right. For myself, like people ask one of my close friends, like, Minh, you can afford a nicer car, why don't you drive one? My audience is, doesn't drive nice cars. Right. So I don't want to roll in there with a golden helicopter or with like a super nice car, because that's not my audience, because I'm creating a specific image for my audience, and my audience is not that. But so I think a lot of the problem with a lot of people on social, they show the Lamborghini and they show the $1 million home, but their clientele's average purchase price is $400,000 or $500,000. Like you're getting social media confused. Like you're talking to TikTok and Instagram, but you're confusing them. And you guys aren't confusing people, and people don't realize that when you're marketing, you're confusing your audience by what you wear and dress and how you market, but then this is your clientele. So if your clientele is this, it sucks. That's what you need your image to look like. So that's confirmation, man. Good job, guys.
And thank you. And as you can tell, it's so many different things going on with us, from the Ferraris to the suits to the hair. And it's kind of tailored for everybody, you know what I mean? So the Ferrari, we do work with a lot of real estate agents and lenders, and they are helping a lot of families, investors, sellers, and they're closing on a lot of deals. So this Ferrari is actually for our business, for people who work here, that, hey, if you want to go celebrate, take the Ferrari. We throw the keys to them and we're like, take the Ferrari for a spin. We're not those people that are like, this is just for us. We're like,
good. That's amazing.
Go enjoy.
Set goals for people. Yeah,
exactly. And just say, hey, you guys could, if you keep working hard, you could take the Ferrari, have a dinner, do whatever you want. So
just some content.
But then, again, we market to everyone. So that's for like realtors and lenders. And then when it comes to the business aspects of things, we're in our suits. We're making sure we're tailored. We're making sure that our audience of buyers, investors, sellers know that we can be serious and we can help them in a professional manner. And so we just try to reach out to everybody that we can. Yeah. And I think that's what's helping us grow as well, It
really is. And honestly, I come from that background too, where I feel like I didn't care too much about social media. I really feel that it wasn't really me. I never had a MySpace. I mean, you should know. I mean, we all know what that is, right? Yeah. The younger people might not know, but I never had a MySpace, right? Right. And I didn't care too much about Facebook. And he came in and like, dude, you should do social media. I should do that. YouTube now we have YouTube and all that sort of stuff too. Now pink hair.
Was the pink hair before social or after social?
After social.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Dude, you guys are purpose driven, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness. And when he did it, I did not even know he just showed up. His hair was pink. I was like,
I'm not gonna lie. I saw somebody at the gym with pink hair, and I was like, that might look kind of cool. I'm gonna try it, and I'm not gonna tell nobody. So it just works. I'm a little spicy like that, but everybody knows me that way, and that's how I run my office, and people tend to know that. But I come with knowledge too. Like you have your knowledge, and like I come with that wisdom as best as I can.
But another question for you, and going back to the social media. So you said you started doing it like full time in like 2017. Is that right?
Correct. I saw that Ty Lopez video. Remember my Lamborghini?
Oh yeah.
So what I learned from that video is that at that point in social media, paid advertising was dirt cheap, and no one was doing it. And so I started combing through the internet. I'm like, hey, there's no one doing paid advertising here. It's like advertising on a billboard that no one knew about. That's on the middle. It's on the 405 freeway.
Wow.
Right? So I'm like, okay, let me get some content out and realize what works and doesn't before I do paid advertising. And I'm a big believer of paid advertisement because it goes to the right clientele. Exactly. Instead of, I've seen guys who have huge audiences, but they're not funny right now. Because maybe that person in Paraguay or that person in the Philippines likes their content, but they're not here to buy a home. But if you do paid advertising, you get exactly what you pay for. But, back then it was a lot cheaper, so we got on it back then. So let me get there before everyone else gets there. Like, brand new clubs open, let me get there before everyone else gets there. Let me figure out the land, where the bottle service is, where everything's at. Okay, then when I walk in 3 months later, I know I'm the man there, right? So let me do it first. Let me get to it first, yeah.
And it just started growing from there because, like, you haven't stopped, and it's only been a few years, 2017. But look at how much it's brought to you being attention to people. So like I said, we talk about you all the time. The office and other offices are always talking about you, and it's truly through social media. You know what I mean? So just going every single day, like, is that what you would recommend to our audiences? That what made you keep going, doing these videos? Because I know in the beginning you probably had a few views, especially in 2017. It was probably really hard to get views.
Why you be calling me out?
Right, I know,
It was bad. And like, so when I started middle of 2017, and I started putting out videos. So I saw that Ty Lopez video. I started putting out videos, and it's horrible. My enunciation was bad. You think I talk fast now? I talk really fast. I'm like, no, sold. And so I put out 2 posts a day in June 2017. I post twice a day, so I can I call it penguin talk. When you feel like you have something up your ass, you're like, right? So like you're not comfortable. So I post twice a day, and I did live twice a week for an hour. And literally there's 5 people following me. My mom, my dad, my brother, and my business partner, and then his parents. His parents wouldn't even open their own account. So I'm like, let me get an extra account. Can you open another account so I can get 6 people? And I put out video after video, and my audience, like he said, and I'm thinking no mortgage or real estate person is really pushing content out there yet, right? There was some, but not a lot. So it should be easy to go viral, and it wasn't. It broke my heart. So I put out video after video from June 2017. In March or February, March, that's when I put out my VOE video. Back then when VOEs were still manual. Remember when they were still calling and verifying? They want the overtime broken down. And so I did that video, and I did this dance. Give me a V, I got your V, I got your V. Give me an O. So I did this dance. What's that spell? VOE. I went from a couple hundred views, and that video hit 2,000. So it didn't go viral, but it hit 2,000. Like, okay, yeah. So there's something here. So when I was losing everything in March 2018, I sold my house. My wife took half. She moved to this area. I moved home. We separated, but not in the sense where like we're not with each other anymore. Like, hey, you need to figure out what the heck is going on, because right now being a father and a husband might not be where you need to be. Your mindset might not be there. So I started running $50 a day, $100 a day, and that video started growing. And so March 2018 up until May, I ran ads and I post twice a day. That video got 2 million views. With paid advertising, but to the right people now. In May, I funded my first couple of loans.
And
by
this is in
2018. So when I lost everything, I had to scratch and dent some loans because I was a bank. I still owed 600 grand. So from March 2018 till November, I reversed 600 grand.
Wow.
Bro, I was tired as F because I was taking the apps, being on Messenger. We were doing credit repair and count half 100% financing.
Oh, wow.
So you had to comb through a lot to get a little, but the calls were like exploding. So once I reversed it all, I took a deal with US Bank, and I like, time to relax. I made less, but it was that time where like you need to just pump the brakes. Wow. But at that point, I was killing it. And think about, I started controlling all the real estate. Mm-hmm. I'm like, bro, I'm onto something. It's like, it's crack. Yeah. And it's better than Zillow's crack. Yeah, exactly. And then I'm like, so realtors, instead of buying into Zillow, buy into me. Yeah. So I started leveraging my realtors to pay for my ads. And
love this.
Oh my God,
yeah. That is some powerful stuff.
Yeah.
Are you still doing all those paid advertisements?
I ride or die by paid advertisement. Okay. But I don't have to spend as much anymore because I'm in the algorithm enough where 75% of our reels go out to new people. So every time that's why I post so much, I post 3 times a day because it's like, instead of paying more money for advertising, I'd rather put out a new video that 75% goes to people I don't know, and that's how our engagement starts growing, and that's how we grow our following.
I love that. So I'm gonna ask you a question. So I'm sure a lot of people that are watching, especially in the mortgage or real estate business, would love to know. So you're saying you post, and obviously we see your stories. Today you posted, I don't even know how many stories, like 100.
No, I do that on Tuesday. So what I do is so Tuesday's my Q&A day. I balance it out so that I stay in stories throughout 24 hours.
That makes sense. So what would you recommend people that are in this real estate business, real estate and mortgage? How many times should they post daily? Let's just say they're starting up. You know, people that are trying to get into it, maybe new people, especially because a lot of people don't realize that in order to get where you're at or we're at, it takes time. It's not just you wake up and you get 1,000 views and 100 views. Sometimes it's 2 people, 4 people, 5 people, 2 likes if you're lucky, and it grows from it. So if people are brand new and they want to capture the market, what would you recommend as far as posts daily and stories daily?
So if you're gonna post, I would post every day as much as you can until you find your voice. Like you found your hair, boom, your money. Like when I see your hair, I'm like, I already know who it is. You know, like it's the mortgage guys are here. You know. So once you find your voice, and then you just see where your voice sits. Okay. You know that in a musical group, there's different parts of the band. You know, different. You know, especially like if it's a symphony. So once you find your voice where you fit in social, that's how much you post. Like I know I have to post 3 times a day. The mortgage kitchen who works with me, he posts 10 times a month. In about 2 years, he gained over 220,000 followers. Wow. Okay. Wow. So, but he found his voice, you know, but to me, I generate more leads because I post so much, but I don't get as much views and engagement. So everyone's a little bit different. You know, but once you find your voice, you just play out your voice. I have a person, I don't mentor too much. I only mentor this one girl, her name is Laura Locke. She kills it on skits. So once her skit starts working well, we turn it into an ad. So once you find your voice and then you see what performs well, you A and B test it on ads, and that's what you push out. And now you'll grow an audience that you want to use your service. So I put out as much content as you can until you find your voice. Once you do, you don't have to put out as much. Live on Instagram, your live goes to your audience. So you use stories and live on Instagram to incubate your audience and to nurture them, you know? And if you're gonna grow on TikTok, lives and stories go out to people you don't know. So if you think you are this amazing, you have this amazing voice, or you're this killer presentation, like I don't know how to crack the algorithm, but I know how to deliver a message, test your game out. Go on TikTok Live. TikTok Live, my buddy goes on TikTok Live. He averages 100 followers a day because he's not really good at systems, so he doesn't know how to make crazy reels, but he's really good live. He used to be a teacher, so he teaches mortgages live, and his audience grows because TikTok pushes out to a new audience. So now his videos are getting more views. Oh, I recognize so and so, you know. And I'll start following, and they'll follow you, but he grows his audience through going live. So you're gonna go so if you think you are the shit at talking, then go live on TikTok, and that will test your how good you really are.
That's amazing. I actually just learned that. Like we go on TikTok Live, but we don't do it as in that method. We're more like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
But if we have
but if you test it enough, you'll know what happens.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh my God, I love that
And
concept.
what about like engaging with the audience? I think this is something we recently learned. So basically what you want to do is, even if the audience they're all tuning in and maybe there's no comments, you're seeing the audience tune in, their names. We should be talking directly to the audience who is tuning in. Is that something that you do?
I do that. I'll say their screen name out loud and I'll answer the question. Yes. You know, we're not really good at answering in like the reels. Like we are decent at it, but I've seen people are really good at it. I have she mentors me. Her name is Lauren Taylor. She's at EXP. She's at 475 people in her downline. She just opened it up to mentor other people, and people like, hey, you have way more followers and engagement. Why did you follow her? Or why do you have her mentor you? She taught me on how to read analytics. For the minimum amount of viewers she has, she engages them so much that her audience is growing at a mass level. Because you'll watch her views, like it doesn't add up. But you can think, oh, she paid bots or not. No, there's a way to find out. So I check her shit. I'm like, oh yeah. The reason why is because, but then I see she engages with her audience more than anyone I know. And she's the only one I know that I've seen that can grow on TikTok and then grow on Instagram. Some people can only grow on one or the other. She can grow on both. And the reason why she's doing it is because her engagement is like out of control with her audience.
I see that, and I've noticed some people that have a lot of followers or have, let's just say you have 500 viewers and everybody's giving you comments. Sometimes you miss them. What do you feel about the people that you miss? Like there's a lot of people that may leave a comment. Do you ever feel like they're gonna stop following you because you don't comment back? Or do you ever feel like that could possibly happen?
If you give valuable content, then no. if you come off, like I said, what'd you say, your breath, you have a commission breath? If you got commission breath, they'll know, oh, this person's just on there for commission. But if you don't ask for the business as much and you don't have commission breath, people understand. Just like your kids, right? Let's say they hit you up and they know you're looking at something at a CD or at a updated approval. Right. They know you're not on here looking at the next car and changing the color. You know how before you buy a car, you like change it 10 different colors. Yeah. You do the chrome rims, you do the black rim. But if your kids saw you do that, like, dude, my dad don't care. No. But they're like, okay, he's doing something to better me. All right, let me back off, right? I'll ask him later. Yeah. So I think your audience is the same thing. Like, they know you're putting out valuable content. You're not out there, coming in on a helicopter every day and drinking champagne and like, pouring it over people. Okay, all right, no, this guy's a jerk.
Right. Yeah, because we do sometimes we miss a couple of comments and we're like, oh my God.
And
we
it's
hope
okay, don't be so hard.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Dude, do you know what you guys are doing right now? You guys are building a huge empire. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay. Bro, you know how many times you gotta keep dying that? Don't be so hard on yourself. Bro, don't be so hard on yourself.
How do you keep it up? Like, you have to die like every week.
Don't be so hard on yourself. You miss a couple comments, and if they're gonna get butt over that, you don't want them as followers anyway.
You're right.
You know in your heart, if you're like, okay, you're missing comments, but you're out, changing change your game plan, doing a bunch of things you shouldn't be doing, then yes. You know what? Then you hit this wall like, man, maybe I should have engaged with more. No, but you guys are putting out valuable content. You guys are letting your employees and your staff share your car. Yes. Are you kidding me? Definitely. Come on, dude. That's not like wearing your heart on your sleeve. I don't know what is.
There's like some of them that haven't even drove because they're scared to drive.
They're like, I can't drive with the liability.
I'm
don't
like,
worry about it.
We have insurance. We're good to go.
You'll be okay.
Thank
you, man. I appreciate that.
Love it.
That's huge, man. So I'm going to ask you a very vulnerable question. You can refuse if you don't want to. So you did say you had a moment in your time back in 2017 during a moment you and your wife had you kind of separated, but not really. Yeah. How's your relationship now? And the reason I'm asking you this question is because myself and Mike are very vulnerable to people. We'll tell people honesty, and we don't mind being in the middle of humility and all that. And I feel like that gets us a long way. So we've had our own challenges, but we get together again and we leave and we know the process, right? How have you guys coped and worked together, getting back together? Has your pact become stronger? Do you feel like there's still challenges? Because and again, the reason I'm asking is not just because of our background, but you are a face, you're an image. You're not just, I do mortgages and nobody knows who I am. You're an image and you're a presenter and you know how to educate people. So it's not just you and your wife and your children, it's you and your wife and a whole bunch of people expecting materials from you. Yeah. And then you have a team, you have an office. There's a lot going on with you, right? Mm-hmm. So how is that relationship coping with everything around you?
It's a lot better now. I feel like we didn't separate like emotionally. We separated because I lost the business. Mm-hmm. I was like, I was funding 68 million on an average, making 75 bips. Wow. So deep, right? That's pretty deep. Dude, we would go out in LA. Yeah. We would ride like in a Uber X or Uber Black. Dude, I would have doves in the car. We would go out, we would release doves, bro. Hey, we've never done that. And then we would go somewhere, we would have watermelon juice everywhere. Like, we call them, hey, bring your blender. I only want fresh watermelon juice. There better not be no F and C's, all right? And that lifestyle, we lived it, but we weren't in a marriage. It was like I was an ATM machine. So when things came back together, I literally had to be transparent with my finances. It wasn't like I was spending money. I was spending money. She didn't. I wasn't watching what I was spending, but I wasn't making smart choices. Right. So our marriage is stronger now. And also, I'm a really friendly guy. But because of that, sometimes like I get DMs. So like she knows now, like everything is open to her to see. Right, yeah. And it keeps me. Hey, I can be friendly, but I can't be too friendly. Right. Because let me help this person. Of course, every time someone needs help, it's gonna be a pretty girl. I'm like, it's both ways. But sometimes you're like super friendly, and then they'll message you like they think it's okay to message you at 10 o'clock at night, asking you about a scenario, even though you're not doing anything wrong. Exactly. But because of what happens, like I respect her so much that like I wouldn't put her in a situation where she looks back. Look at your man. He's all over the internet. Look at that shit. Who the fuck is that? Who's he talking to? So like, I'm not gonna put her in that position. So our marriage is stronger now. I have a different passion, desire. Before I wanted to retire at a certain age and be like YOLO. Now it's like I want to do better for my wife and son, and that's the difference now.
That's a huge impact. How's your? You only have one son?
Yes, I have one son.
How old is he?
He is 8.
8 years old. Oh, wow, so you're still starting.
Yeah, I love my son, but I would not wish kids on anybody who was in mortgage and real estate. It is hard. It is hard, right? That tug of war.
It is so hard.
For us, you probably the one that was the receptionist, so it's a process. We love you still.
It's true. It's so hard. Like so the other day, we had to put our son on calendar to have like a meeting with him about, things, school and work,
Yeah.
what he's going to be doing. He turned 16 and a half, probably
Yeah.
it's time to work. You know what I mean? And it's like we had to put him on calendar, and I'm like checking with Eli, like, hey, you have an appointment at 6 p.m. tonight. And he's like, yeah, it's with Ethan, our son. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, let's make sure we make that. But it's like, oh my God, it's hard, you guys,
But
but.
then our son appreciates it too. Like, you have an appointment with me. He feels important.
Yeah.
Because when you start off with your kids and you're so busy, they do make that face like, oh, again, you're
Yeah.
gonna cancel on me. But when they're on calendar, Dad, you're coming? Are you coming? They're like, yeah, you're on the calendar.
Yeah.
They feel so important. Now they're waiting for you. That oh, you're here. So believe it or not, it actually has made such a huge change. I would highly recommend to anybody to get a personal assistant. I think once for lenders or realtors, I personally think if you're in this business, once you're past 5 transactions monthly, you got literally have no choice.
And kids get expensive too.
Yeah, kids get super expensive.
The other day, I know there's a lot of rain in California right now. I hit a pothole. It cost $2,500 to fix my tire, right? And then
Well,
two days,
the rim was broken.
two
too,
days
so-
later, Eli takes out, our son driving. It's time for him to drive, and he goes over a curb. Both tires got hit. I was like,
Well, I told him to stop. He was like, stop. He's like, okay. Boom. I'm like, you didn't stop.
so I was like, it could get expensive having
Yeah.
kids too, So.
And that's why I say, like, especially if you're in beginning in mortgage or real estate, it's an expense. Like, it's not a bill, but it's an expensive cost in life. So if you want to grow, it's like, okay, do I pay for private school or do I pay money for running ads? Do I pay for private school? It's like, of course, if your career's taken off, it doesn't really matter. But if you're building, it's hard, So
I agree. And so how important is it for branding? Because we brand Eli and Mike. So you brought up the fact that your wife has the ability to access and stuff. We use branding in everything from our business to personal. We just literally merge into one. So Eli and Mike is our Instagram. It's our Instagram. We have official Eli and Mike on TikTok. Everything on Facebook. Everything is branded as one. Like we don't even have our own personal stuff. It's one account. And again, it's easy because we can share each other's information. But at the same time, we believe that branding is everything. How do you believe branding works for you? Like, do you think it's something very important for people to do?
Yeah, it's important. I think branding is really important because through your branding, especially we're in the service business, your branding lets people know your personality and who you are. Just like you have a specific image and personality that you want to portray, you push it through your branding. I have one, like if you look at mine, I look like I'm that Snoopy. Yeah, knots, right? But that's the brand. That's what I want to put out there. Yes. And through that, they see who you are, and that's who they're comfortable with if that's the audience you're chasing. So I think branding is really important because how they're going to recognize you.
I agree with that. And go ahead.
Yeah, so and I say like certain words I say all the time. I use the word fam a lot. So when they talk to me, they feel like, hey fam. When they start saying hey fam through the DMs, I know that's my buyer. Like if they don't say hey fam, like okay, still they're still testing me. Right, but like, hey fam, I got a question about that. Okay, cool, I'm running credit for sure. If they say hey fam, or like, they say hey fam, all right, we're running credit. Forget the soft mortgage credit, but let's do it right now.
Oh my God, that's amazing now.
How are you with building real estate? Are you investing in real estate right now at the moment?
No, right now, besides my parents' house, I'm really investing in day trading. So I tried to buy a piece of property on Joshua Tree, and it was like, think about real estate. You have the money ready. You have the crew. Then you get outbidded. And you keep getting outbidded over and over and over again. Unless you've done it and you have your solid crew, it's hard now. All right, so for me, I'd rather put more money towards ads. My money goes towards ads and day trading. So day trading is where I'm growing my money right now. Like, okay, I know what to buy. I knew when Apple dropped, so I can move money around a lot more now. With real estate, it is money, it is long term. I just feel like it's not for me. And I tried it because I tried a couple homes and it was hard. See, you do real estate full time. My wife doesn't do real estate, I don't. And I'm digging through, okay, there is something. By the time I get there, you got 4 other guys out there in front waiting to outbid me, Exactly. But then if the juice is worth the squeeze. To me, okay, I might know the value, but I might not know the cost of the flip or the cost of the hard money. I know the cost of the hard money, but okay, how long does it take? Right. I see so many people. I'm a lender for a buddy of mine. He's a hard money lender. He has so many deals where the person who flipped, it went bad or like the time is up. So he relisted, I'm the preferred lender. So I'm like qualifying, I'm like, dude, what's going on? Like, because they over leveraged or they didn't budget enough and now they're in the loss.
It's not for everybody.
Yeah, correct. So if you're a master at it, yes, but if you're not, it's hard to practice being a real estate investor. You can day trade, paper trade for a while until you become good at it. You can't do that. Like one bad move, and it depends how much you tied up, it can go sideways quick.
It can. And you are competing, and it always changes. The other day I was showing properties. There's 3 people we were competing against. But then the same day we showed a property in a different county, 24 people we were competing against.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a lot when you're not really fully an investor, a real estate investor, you know, when you're going in at your first time and then you're like, your agent is telling you, hey, you know, you're going to compete against 24 other people. That is a little bit tough.
Yeah.
And then you do it 2 or 3 times and you're still competing. If you're not, you know, seasoned for this, it can be very tough. So it's not for everybody. Definitely, like you said.
I think you hear all the amazing stories on social, but you don't hear all the bad stories. Yeah. Think about it, like you don't know anything about, like people talk about Tennessee being an amazing deal. My buddy bought in Tennessee, he's stuck. Yes. Right now, right? Exactly. He's stuck. He had a tenant, of course, during COVID, they weren't paying rent. So now he didn't budget to eat the losses on it. And now, of course, he wants to sell it. It's like they're slowly getting through the process. But for that year, almost 18 months, he sat in hell.
No, I see that. And that's a risk in real estate for sure. I actually would love to know more about day trading. I have a lot of people that actually do that. How did you get into that? Actually, I have a better question. How do you recommend somebody to get into it? Let's just say somebody has $1,000. You know, a lot of our viewers are not going to be heavily financially like, hey, I have $1 million, let's invest. But let's just say somebody wants to start off in day trading. $1,000 is what I have. What would be the number one thing they should be doing with it?
Just get some books, sign up for a course, someone that knows what they're doing, and learn. Like right now, like today, I pulled out almost $500 a day. It cost me $300. So I keep about $1,000 in the account, and every day I pull out a couple $100 in the trade. And then in the week, I cash out. During when rates, I thought rates were gonna hit 10%. I'm like, dude, I gotta go YOLO. So I was making $1,000 a day, but I was leveraging a lot, but I knew what I was doing. But to make that $1,000, I only had like $9,000 in the account. So, you know, this thing about $1,000 a day, I did that for 3 months straight with like $9,000 in the account. So it's like, that's why I like it more, because you're not leveraging a lot. Because if you tie into a house, you pray to God that thing goes and like before you move on, but you're tying a lot. So I think just use the money, buy courses first, and then paper trade until you get into the hat.
I like that. I like how you brought up the course. So we're in the middle of creating a educational course. So we're looking into creating 2 different facts. And I mean, maybe you have that. I don't know if you created. Have you created?
I've created a course. Yes. I sold a good amount of them in the beginning, but I stopped because I did one on social media. But in my course, I gave too much finite detail on how to use the app. And the problem was, like, if you have a lot of people who are a little bit older who don't know how to use it, but you feel obligated because they bought your course, right? You guys are nice people. Right. So like, if they don't know how to use it, they go, hey Eli, Mike, hey, how do I remove the watermark? And like, you got to stop. Now you have to have another assistant, or like a troubleshooting department. You know, so if you're gonna do a course, you got to be broad enough and not get too into the depths of it. But then like, oh, if I don't give enough depth, then like I'm just like everyone else. I don't want to just take money from somebody without providing value. So to find that balance is important. To me, I was doing that for a while. I was, you know, I'm like, okay, cool. If I'm going to do this course, I'm going to speak every week at another office so I can build a database, right? I had my QR code, and I had like I already had the marketing all done. If they click the QR code to download my slides, then I get a drip campaign from me. It's just my fulfillment part wasn't where I wanted to be. And also it was taking me away from what I want to do. So now I just day trade and I make content and I just, you know, run my team because everything else was too much. But for you guys, since you have the assistance and the leverage, it might be good for you guys. But just make sure you design it in a way where the troubleshooting, or they're going to ask questions about it, and are you ready, or do you have a team to like add all that, you know?
And the balance of updating it, you know, always has to be updated as well.
Like TikTok just changed recently. You know, it is short form content, but you do have to talk in some videos, designing a way to update that. Now you're updating, but people already paid, so it's like you're not even making money on the people that already paid. Now you got to get, you know.
Yes, always changing.
So I have one final question for everybody. Now, I'm sure people would love to know this. So this is you today. What's a Mortgage has been doing loans for 20 years or so, and then obviously give or take time off here and there. We've all experienced that. It's 2023. Let's just say today, Minh and his wife and his family have this thing going on. 5 years from now, what do you believe your future looks like? What do you expect out of yourself that you have created for yourself 5 years from now?
5 years from now, hopefully I won't be doing loans anymore. Okay. Hopefully, I still do content, but you know, like right now I'm still taking VIP calls. I think 5 years from now, my goal is not to do that, just to do content and day trade. I think I want my life to be simple. I think, you know, we've made enough and we're consistently making money where I don't need a lot, and I don't think we care about having a lot. I think I didn't get, so my son's 8. For the first 4 to 5 years, I was a horrible dad. I wasn't there. I was out, you know, I don't know if your audience knows, like I was yacked out most of the time. Just being real with you guys. I was yacked out. trying to run
Yeah.
a mortgage company where
Right.
I was spending 68, 70 million. I had like all these employees. Oh, can I get this from you, man? Your rate, dude. The worst is like I don't control rates. Your rates are too high today. Oh, this so and so has better. Oh, so and so, can you guys get paid early? Everyone's sucking the life out of me, and because of that, I had no time for my son. I think one time, unless my wife watches, like I was yacked out. I dropped my son when he was like young.
Oh my
Down
God.
the stairs, not like, I like tripped, like, oh shit, you know, because I came home the next morning, my face was like, you know, I was coming down. I'm like, dude, all right, this shit. So like, I want to be the father I never was.
I see that.
Amazing.
And because of that, like 5 years from now, I'm chill. You know, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
I have low overhead. I don't have any bills. You know, and I just want to. So 5 years, I just want to do less.
Love that, and that's so amazing. And thank you for sharing that with us, because even us as dads, we've had those moments where we always tell the story where we're collecting coins in the couches to freaking make ends meet so we can have dinner with our kids. And you know, if we were just working a little bit harder at that time, we may have not had to do that. But we were just going through our little moment that we were going through, our downfall. And again, we were collecting coins, and now we're sitting here in suits, and we're better, and you know, we're doing everything we can also to be the best parents we can for our son and daughter as well. So
I think
it's
those
so nice to
failures-
hear, you know, your story. You know,
Yeah, I think those failures, even your failures in the past, we have grown a lot from it. Like I've realized what not to do again. I think being in our 40s, I feel like, okay, I think I fell enough times. I'll fall a couple more times. I'm sure it's going to happen. Something's going to hit me in the face. I don't know what it is, but at least I know how to handle it. It's gonna be him actually. Everybody knows how he is. He's crazy. But we want to appreciate you being here with us. Honestly, you're an inspiration for us. I know we ran into in Las Vegas at Forward event, with Neil, and when I talked to you that day, I was telling Mike, I want his number. I'm gonna go up to him. I'm very bold. I'm like that guy. Like I need to get his number. I'm gonna talk to him. I'm gonna go. A lot of our podcasts are set up by me. I'm just hitting everybody up. Like, come on, you know you want to be in it. But I feel like our viewers want to see the stuff on this other side of people, and I really want to appreciate you for being here, driving from the OC. Actually, I grew up a lot in the OC. I grew up in Anaheim, so I think that's more of the ghetto. Is Anaheim more?
Oh, it's ghetto, but it's expensive to live there. Living next to Mickey is like a milli now. Living next to Mickey is a milli for sure.
That's true. And I love Mickey too, by the way. But guys, if you guys want to follow What's a Mortgage, you guys already know how to follow him, or you guys know how to follow him on Instagram. Look at his tag name. It'll be on here. And YouTube is released on Sunday at 5 p.m. And a couple of reels will roll out throughout the week. So we want to appreciate you guys. Any
Thank you
final
for having me.
words? Everything's cool?
I think my final word for everybody is that follow what these guys are doing. I'm telling you guys, these guys are like, I'm very impressed at your marketing skills, your balance, and taking risks by getting it. Even I don't got the balls to do that. You know what I mean? I'm like, do I really want to spend that money? You guys are encouraging and challenging me, and don't think like, oh, because I'm where I'm at, that I can't be challenged. And you guys just challenge me in a good, healthy way to evolve. I'm very like set up my ways. Like you guys are challenging me to evolve, and like I am going to evolve so I can help more people like you.
Thank
That's
you so
amazing,
much.
man. That's
Appreciate you
impactful.
so much. Thank you for being here for us. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man.
Love it.
Bye, guys.